If you're ready to take back control of your health, you're in the right place. Welcome to Awaken Wellness with me, Tanya Candy, registered nurse and health coach. Now, I'm not your typical nurse. I consider myself divorced from traditional healthcare. I broke free of the sick care system in 2019 when I realized that the root cause to my sickness, my autoimmune disease, and my chronic pain was me. If you're ready for truth, for clarity, for honesty in a tough, love, compassionate way, I'm the coach for you. Join me while we dig into our root causes of sickness and disease. Hey, it is Nurse Tanya here with a impromptu live video. So if you give me just a second, I need to get on. I'm going to try going on TikTok as well. So I had a cancellation this morning, and so I had this extra chunk of time. What will we do with an extra chunk of time? So I have, let's see. Let me get this going before I talk anymore. And I thought I was streaming over on Instagram, but I don't think it's working. There's some little button that it wouldn't let me click. So, shoot. I'm experimenting on all fronts, experimenting on my social media, where I can stream to, and how much multitasking I can do at once, and experimenting in the kitchen. So this is a totally unplanned live video that I just wanted to bring to you guys as I'm experimenting. Let's see, I'm going to back this up a little bit. We talk a lot about implementing fermented foods, right? So I just want to say that I am a complete newbie. I know this much. I only know enough to be dangerous about fermented foods. Nurse Tanya, I'm an RN. I consider myself divorced from the sick care system. So I have a business. I am not a full-time content creator, like at all. I run a little healing center, a little wellness office in Montana. So I had a cancellation. I've been wanting to get some stuff prepared. I am a part of Jazziel's Created to Heal movement. Look at my open cupboards back there. I just have a mess. Like, this is totally unprofessional, totally impromptu, just me. If you will, like and share the video. I didn't even do that myself. I didn't even share my own video. Okay, let me quick share with a few people and let them know that I'm out here on TikTok. Like I said, totally impromptu. I kind of got to watch the time because I do have a client in a couple of hours, but here I am trying to get some stuff done. Trying to teach a little bit as I learn. What the main lesson here is that we should not be intimidated to try new things. That's the takeaway. This full moon, we'll have our Created to Heal meeting in Sydney, and we are going to talk about fermented foods. I've got some fermented stuff that I've done in my refrigerator that has worked for me. It's been great. So I have that to build on. I want to have some stuff prepared that is in a little over a week. So if I get it fermenting now, we will be able to sample it. I'll be able to share what I did at that meeting. So let's see. Oh, I got too many cameras going. This morning, before I decided to go live, I worked on some cranberries. So I've done cranberries and fermented in honey in the past, and it works really good. I enjoy it. on my gluten-free pancakes, on a gluten-free cracker. It's just super tasty. We know that fermenting increases the nutritional value of whatever we're eating. It puts microbes in our food. And this is something that we really, really need to get back to. I myself, I came from this, I don't know if it was my generation or just me. I was a brat. I was a spoiled brat. When I was in my house, I didn't listen to my grandma. I didn't listen to my mom. I could care less about these homesteader type things that are trendy now. So I'm gray haired. I'm in my early 50s. And whether it was my generation, like I said, or whether it was just me, I was a spoiled brat. So I missed out on a lot of really good, valuable information. Um, when we think about what a mess our guts are now, right? We think about what a mess we are now, and we think about what's different. Not that people weren't a mess, 2 generations ago, or they weren't a mess before there was refrigeration, but today we're a whole different kind of mess. We use hand sanitizer. We think everything needs to be sterilized. We've been brainwashed by the germ theory. We forgot about our terrain. We forgot about all of that, right? So we need those microbes. We need to think about less refrigeration, less artificial preserving, and just getting our microbiome in a place where we can handle these bacteria. So, yeah, no lie, when you first start eating fermented food, your microbiome might have a little bit of a freak out. It totally might. Yes, encourage everybody to like and share the live video. That would be awesome. That would be awesome. I want to grab something. Hold on. There's going to be a lot of that. I need to grab something, hold on, going on in this video because like this is completely sporadic, completely unplanned. This is me, all natural, in my messy kitchen, how I do things, right? I am a total imperfectionist in the kitchen. I am not a weigh it perfectly, measure it perfectly. I am a what is in the cupboard, what is in the refrigerator, that's what we're throwing in, that's what we're building for supper. So if that is a tick for you, you might want to scroll on, you might want to move on right now. But I will say most of my stuff turns out totally edible. Some tools that like I use Azure Standard a lot. This I gotten from them. It's like a fermentation starting kit. I will say the things that I've used this with, I like the least, but I just learned that it quickens things. So the times that I've used this, I think I let it sit too long. So this is going to expedite things. Here is my favorite. This is my favorite concoction so far. So it is fermented tomatoes. I was blessed by some clients of mine. They couldn't use all their tomatoes. I got a ton of tomatoes. I just got tomatoes, finely cut, onion, garlic, and some cilantro, and then the salt. That's it. I love salt. I got mine probably saltier than what I needed, but it's so yummy. So I will have this available at our Created to Heal meeting for people to sample. Again, hold on. Let me get something. This is my crock. So that I need that out for a few minutes anyway. So I had the best luck with my tomato ferment when I did them in my crock without any starter. And this one, I wrote on it 5 days. So this one I let it sit for 5 days, and it is great. I love it. I did some other like jars with the weight and the little burper tops where I did tomatoes, and I had some peppers and some different stuff, just whatever vegetables. I threw them in there. I did them with the starter and I let them go too long. They got mushy, they got funky. It just didn't work. So, lesson learned. My main goal in doing this live is just to tell you to start experimenting. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I am just experimenting. But we have to start somewhere. Just last week, Jassiel had the chef, blah, 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 whatever his name is, on her live. And we were talking about, you know, thanks, Michelle, for the questions. Keep coming, keep sharing, but I really am not looking at the comments. So I'm just going to talk. I'm kind of in a hurry. I don't really have time to look at the comments. So I'm just going to go for it. If you're on TikTok, if you got here late, I am recording this video. I'm going live over on Facebook and on YouTube. So it will be stored there. If you want to go back and watch more, you can go and rewatch me making a complete fool of myself fermenting on YouTube. So that's me being brave. That's the kind of bold I am. Like, I've always been that way in my personality. I'm not going to wait till I think I know everything or have everything perfect before I try anything. I'm just going to dive in and I'm going to start treading water and I'm going to figure this stuff out as I go. So again, if you know how to ferment better, I'll take your tips. Just message them to me, because right now I'm not looking at comments. If you got some tips to share, I'm all about that. Message me. And I'm hyper. Did I even take my B vitamins this morning? I don't think I did. I just feel good about this message. Okay, so like I was saying, Jassiel had chef, he's on Instagram. I don't know, I can't think of what his name is, but he has been studying this fermentation forever. So my mind gets to thinking about homeopathy, right? Like fixes like. And Michelle is here. I've been working with Michelle, and like, listen close, Michelle, to what I'm gonna say. So we're thinking about like fixes like. Originally, I was told if you've got a yeast and candida problem that you shouldn't do kombucha. And maybe that's true, but maybe we need that good fermented yeast to balance out the bad overgrown yeast, right? So maybe we're thinking about that wrong. So maybe if that's you and you've been avoiding some of those things, maybe try adding a little and then listening to your body. No matter what I do as a health coach, no matter what I do as a person, we always need to be listening to our body, and we need to be as intuitive as we possibly can, right? We need to be as intuitive as we possibly can. And gosh, this camera, I hate this angle right on my chest, and I don't know if there's anything I can do about it. Let me see if I make it lower. Is that better? No, that's not better. Cameras, bad angles. Yes, I am definitely big chested, but not this big chested. So yeah, so Michelle, sorry, I'm not tracking well. I'm multitasking. So the chef and I asked him a question about mold. This, Michelle, is where pay attention. Mold. So if you take and you ferment something, your food, whatever you choose, however you choose, and you ferment it in that moldy environment that you're living in, what I'm thinking, like fixes like. So that mold is going to get in your ferment to an extent, but then the other microbes are going to mutate. They're going to change that mold. And so when you eat it, I believe it's going to become a tool for your immune system to go in and find that mold that is in your body that is causing you problems, and it will give your immune system a tool, a bacteria that's already been introduced to that mold and has worked it out. So when we think about fermenting, this is what goes on in our body. That we forget that our body, our GI system, is a compost pile, right? So this sterile environment, our generations have been taught germ theory, have been taught to be sterile, be clean, wash, wash, wash. Where generations ago, granted, they had some sanitary issues. They had some diseases that came about because of sanitary problems. So we can be smarter than that generations going forward, but we need to remember our bodies are a terrain. Our bodies are a compost pile. Our bodies are a fermentation jar. Our body, when we get vitamins and nutrients out of our food, it's because our body is fermenting them down. Just like when we ferment in a jar, the fermentation, the bacteria from the air that comes in and it mixes with the food, it starts to bubble, it starts to ferment. So it's pre-digesting for us. The fermentation, we know, enhances your nutritional factors in your food. It is said to, now I'm not throwing out studies, I've just heard other creators, other people talk about it. I have not researched it myself. I'm just repeating information. But fermentation is said to mitigate nanotechnology. It is said to cleanse the toxins off your food. It is said to kind of undo your GMO type yuck that's done to our food. So we are pre-breaking it down, right? Good job, Michelle. You're already fermenting that in your environment. Awesome. So this is my one that I have been enjoying. And I did this in my crock and it worked out good. Worked out really good. This is a, I did that. I did not date it. Well, maybe I did. Yeah, quite a few months ago. So this is just been, it's done. It's been in my refrigerator. Now I could pour this off and I could put that in my new batch to use as a starter. Like if you always save and start, then you're just getting healthier and healthier microbes as you go. So that one is one that I already had done. I'm not going to grab it. I've got cranberries that I already had done. So this morning, I was working on cranberry, my honey. I've been waiting for that to warm up and melt down. This morning, I just used my Ninja and I ground up cranberries. So cranberries are in season and they make the tastiest honey ferment. What I put in there was, I had a couple of oranges. I just got in a fresh box of fruit and veggies. So I just used the rind and it was fresh. I minced it up. I put that in with the cranberries. I put a couple of cloves. I put ground cinnamon. The cinnamon stick I put in something else. And then I had some minced ginger that I hadn't used. So I put a little bit of that. So my hope is that I get kind of a, you know, a really mulliony, spicy type spread. This cranberry, use it on your gluten-free bread, on your gluten-free pancakes. Just eat it by the spoon if you want. So I had some honey in there, and I needed some more. And now I had to warm that up and melt it down. So I'm just going to top that off. Oh, it's really ready. I'm going to let that cool down a little bit. I don't want it to go in there too hot, just in case I don't want to disturb any of the bacteria. So I made quite a few jars of that. So this will be ready to go, ready to sample. Here in Montana, I do a full moon I just do the full moon because it keeps me on track. I always monitor my clock, my cycles by the full and new moon anyway. So that's when our Created to Heal group meets in person. So we're going to talk about fermenting and I will have these ready to go. Okay, so next I have some cabbage that I need to use up. So I thought I would just do that while I'm talking. I've got carrots. Those came in my order. So I'm going to do those. I left the skins on. I washed them really good. I left the skins on. I bought this gadget from TikTok shop and that's not the I don't have a link or anything. I should have been more organized if I was going to use it on live video, but I wasn't that organized. But it is kind of cool. I like that it is a hand crank and it suction cups to the counter. Yeah, I don't know every camera angle here if you can see that. So it's super simple to use. These things pop out, and then it comes with a bunch of different choices. This one I had used to do potatoes, and I put them in my crock pot the other day with just cabbage and, you know, whatever, so it's ready when I get home. What do I want for these carrots? You know, that wavy one probably would have worked just fine. So I don't really want them ground too. Maybe I'll just leave that one in. I don't want them ground. This is the little, it's got all sorts of different attachments. So that one would be more of a fine ground. This one that looks like that cheese grater. And I want my carrots to be kind of stringy. So we'll try this one. We'll see what we get. So yeah, I should have done the whole, you know, TikTok creator thing and put a link for this in the video, but Tanya is not that organized. All right, so we are going to that just goes on there. Let's see how this goes. My bowl's kind of big. We'll try it. Let's try it. Let's see what happens. So my whole theme of my video is just be brave and try things. Like, don't sit around waiting for things to be perfect, or don't sit around waiting to know everything. So that's all right. I don't mind that. It makes like this little chip. But that's not really what I want for my, I don't want that one. That's, so what I'm thinking about my, what I want that to be like in my cabbage, I want that to be more like the cabbage. You know, I want it to be smaller pieces. I want it to, as it ferments, it'll probably stay a little bit firm, but I don't want it too firm. I like my ferment, my cabbage to still have a texture. I don't want it to get too soggy. So that one was not my favorite. That one, I don't know. That one seems weird. I don't know. They're all weird. Let's see. Let's try it. I guess, I don't know what would happen if a person used two different ones. So this one's got 2 rows, and that's kind of a square, like a, let's see what happens. So yeah, if you're there in the comments, sorry, I can't really do comments. I'm not multitasking very well. If you're on TikTok, I am live streaming on Facebook and YouTube, and I will save those videos. So if you just jumped in and you're wondering, what in the world is Awaken Wellness doing? I am being brave. That's the video. The theme of my video is be brave. In the kitchen, be brave. Whatever you're doing, try something new. I like that better. Yeah, I like that better. So I was saying earlier, I am from, I'm 50, in my early 50s. Honestly, I just had a birthday and I don't remember if I'm 51, 52. I was born in 72. So there's that. I would say I pretended to be 21 for so long that who knows how old I am, right? But I was a brat. I don't know if it was our generation or if it was just me, but I was in this generation that I was so disrespectful to my grandmother and my mother, for that matter. My mom wasn't into canning, gardening in her when she was in that time that she was raising me either. So there's that. But I was a brat. My husband just walked in. I have live videos going. So I was a brat. So for me, I think, you know, kind of because of that, all of this is super intimidating to me. Like canning, I'll probably never can just for time's sake, but that scares me. Like there's something about that that scares me. This fermenting, I think I can do, but canning, no. And like I was saying, now I regret the way I was in my younger years. But like when I was in my 20s, like I was saying earlier, everything was all sterile. When my babies were young, breastfeeding was out. It was totally taboo. And I was totally programmed. I wanted to do everything that was current, everything that was cool, everything that the media was telling me to do. That's where I was at. So, gosh, it's not just being divorced from the sick care system. If you just popped in, I'm Nurse Tanya. I'm an RN. I consider myself divorced from the sick care system. I got divorced from the sick care system just right around 5 years ago. So even for me, a lot of this is new. And that's why I'm telling you, if you are like me, if you're that generation, be brave. Just try this stuff. You don't have to do it perfect. You might throw a lot of stuff out. You might really have to wait on your taste buds. This stuff is going to feel completely foreign. It's going to taste completely foreign. And quite frankly, it might freak your intestines out until you get used to bringing back those microbes. So we have messed up. We know dysbiosis is just rampant, the cause of sickness and disease. I always want to say that it's parasites and blah, 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 but it's dysbiosis. Why are we vessels that parasites want to live in? It's because of the preservatives, it's because of the toxins and the junk food that we need. In a sense, our bodies have gotten to the point where they need the parasites because the parasites are little sponges that soak up the toxins, that soak up the heavy metals. Our body is using those parasites to stay in a state of health. So we always say we can't kill what we're feeding. If we want to live free of parasites, free of disease, we have to change how we eat. And it is the hardest component. It's the hardest thing we'll ever do. But we're going to have to, maybe your diet is just going to be plain and boring. Maybe you're just going to buy produce and eat raw foods and don't eat things out of a package. If you can't do that, a lot of times I say at least go to the frozen section. If you're afraid of GMOs and if you're afraid of the food in the raw food in the fruit and vegetable section, I get it. Fermenting helps. It helps to pre-digest. It helps to enhance those foods. It helps to mitigate some of the negative qualities. But something to think about, I always think about the frozen section, like the frozen organic section. It went from wherever it was picked, wherever it was processed, right to the freezer. So it naturally, and even by law, is treated with way less chemicals. The fruit in our markets that everybody's sneezing that everybody's touching on, and then has those toxic spray misters that are constantly spraying it because everybody's touching it and sneezing on it. So the law says it has to be treated while it's out in the open air. So if you're really worried about that, then go to the frozen section, buy frozen food. We still want to try to stay away from the majority of canned food unless it's in an organic can, because the can itself has got toxins. The process they use to put it in the can is all a process. It's all got a toxic involvement. All right, so I'm just gonna do this here, get a few more carrots done, and I maybe can't talk and do this at the same time. So just give me a second here. My goal is, before I leave for town, which is in about an hour, I want to get my sauerkraut in my crock on the brine so it is cooking and ready to sample at our next Created to Heal meeting. So for me, my taste buds still don't enjoy the sauerkraut as much as I hope someday. You know, you got to keep introducing it. I can't quit on it. I like how these turned out with that. They're kind of squarish, but I like that. I really like my fermented salsa, however. That is very tasty. Oh, I did another fun thing this morning. Let me show you. So this is another experiment. So everything that I did this morning pretty much has the same ingredients because it's crazy how far I had 2 packs of fresh cranberries. It's crazy how far they go. So this has the same I talked about earlier. If you just came on, we're talking about fermenting foods, being brave, and trying things at home. Just try it. If you have to throw it out, you know, big deal. Just try it. Just start somewhere. So I've had these little supplies for a long time, different fermenting kits. This one's got the little squeezable nipply thing on the top to let the gases out. So that's pretty handy. If you use a crock, you don't need to do that. But this, I am going to make a pop. So I'm making a fermented pop. I could, beans I got all this stuff out anyway, and I have that crushed ginger open. I don't have any lemons, but I could do a ginger lemon pop. I could do, you know, you can do whatever tastes are good to you, whatever is pleasing to your palate, whatever you have in the refrigerator, just try something. I encourage you all, by the end of the today, if you have some distilled water, if you have some salt, if you have a container or some jars, ferment something. I don't care what it is, whatever's in your refrigerator, cut it up and try it. Just try it. You're going to be out nothing if you try it. So this guy, I think there's a fancy name for that. I don't really know what the fancy name is, but what I did, I left room in there. I just put probably about a tablespoon of honey, distilled water, cranberry, cinnamon stick, orange peel. What else? Ginger. And every day I'm going to add more honey to this, just like sourdough. It's going to start bubbling, and I kind of need the bubbles. So this might be overkill. I might lose too much. So I'll see. I'm going to play with it. I'm going to see what happens. Temperature matters. These are going to go in that cupboard behind me that I have open. I've got some other stuff brewing in there. That's my brew cupboard that they're going to go in here. I'm going to add to them every day. And once this gets good and bubbly, I love carbonation. I crave soda. I love pop. So I want this to be bubbly. Once this gets good and bubbly, I'm going to strain off the stuff, the food particles, and keep the drink. Yes, I did see that comment, room temperature. So I had said earlier, sorry, I'm like really multitasking too much to look at the comments. So yes, room temperature. And yes, Veronica, just start fermenting. I have a couple of books, but you know, the best we can do is just start trying, and we will learn as we go. We will make mistakes, and that's how we learn. Just like anything in life, I always learn best from the mistakes I made the hard way. But I'm excited about this. I think it's going to be bubbly, wonderful. And then the bubbles is going to have the good bacteria in it. It's going to have the probiotics, just like those expensive drinks that we're all buying in the grocery store by the can, like the Poppy and whatever. That's what they've done. And then they've bottled it. They've gone bigger. They've gone better. So chop anything up fresh. I really think pretty much anything. For fruit, I always think honey. For vegetables, I think salt. But let me grab a couple of other, no, again, let me be right back. All right, so these are a couple of other things that I had brewing up. Again, if you just got here, I am not a professional. I am a scared of canning, non-homesteader, grew up spoiled brat. All this is new to me. Just somebody who is out here trying and being bold and sharing with you my process, what we're going to learn from my mistakes. So these are a couple of things that I did. So this one I did September 21st, and I want to have some of this handy for if and when me or my family, I don't sell this at the store because I'm scared of it. I don't have a manufacturer, cottage laws, blah, blah, blah. Maybe 3 years from now, after I've been in this experimenting phase, then maybe I'll be ready to. But like I say, right now, I'm a spoiled brat. I'm in my early 50s, my generation, I was completely programmed. We didn't breastfeed. We didn't smoke. My crowd didn't smoke. That was totally not cool when I was in high school. But when my babies were young, I vaccinated them. I did all the bad crap that I was programmed to do. And now, as a nurse, there was more programming. So I've only been awake and thinking that this stuff was cool for 5 years. So it's totally outside of my nature. It is totally, totally new to me. Like, so if don't go by what I say as gold standard for anything, because like I say, I'm just brave enough to do this in front of you. I'm just brave enough to get out of the boat and try it, right? That that is just my personality type. I don't wait for things to be perfect. I learn from my mistakes. I dig in and start learning, whether that's good or that's bad. That's the way I've been doing things for over 50 years. I learn shit the hard way. I will buy the book, I will listen to the videos, but I'm still gonna learn it my way. And usually that's the hard way. That I lose money because of the things that don't work. And that's just how I do it. So anyway, hey Transcendence, I did this up on the 21st of September. My thinking here, and I did open this earlier today. Honestly, I think once you do them, I should vacuum seal them. I have a vacuum sealer in at the shop. I haven't done that yet. I opened that today. I think you're better off not messing with them. So I opened that once already today. Probably shouldn't have. I should probably vacuum seal this and leave it alone. But this is honey and just onion, and it has been fermenting. So my reason that I put this in a jar and got it fermenting is if and when anybody in my clan gets a cough, where this is the honey onion juice. You can make that on the spot. Totally can. Just cut up honey or cut up onion, put a little honey in it, and just let it sit until it makes its own juice. And then you use that juice for a cough. And I always say, take your honey and or the onion particles, don't throw them out. Like put a pat of butter in the pan and saute them. They're the best. Those candied onions are the best. So this is super similar to candied garlic, but it's candied onion. This one is the candied garlic. I did that the same day, the 21st of September, and I warmed up my honey. So I did some earlier this year, and my honey it's local honey. Our neighbors produce it, and it was cloudy. It was heavy and cloudy, and that does not work. That I have found out, that honey needs to be warmed up and liquefied if you want it to look pretty like this. So that is my candied garlic. We all know that can be super beneficial. And I don't eat one every day. I don't know why I don't. I just don't. I usually wait for that immune response or that detox cold or flu or whatever it is, and then I start using it. But prevention would be great. Let me get one more thing. This is our apple cider, or our fire cider from earlier. We made that. I think that was we did that the last full moon group. No, 2 full moons groups ago. So it's been a couple months. You can see all the good particles settle to the bottom. My husband is way better about using this than I am. It's pretty spicy. We just did it in apple cider vinegar with like all of the good ingredients, let it sit. So this is a total fermentation. So it's got good bacteria as well. Super good. So I see Transcendence is doing some comments. Transcendence, I love comments. I'm like multitasking and I'm not reading the comments very well. So forgive me for not answering. If you just popped on, if you want to know what I'm up to, I am live on Facebook and YouTube as well. And those videos are the full length, the whole story will be there. If you like to listen to me rattle on, that's where you find it. Facebook, YouTube. This is my cranberry concoction, and I did that in October. And that's just cranberries. I had bought cranberries. I needed to get them used. So that's just cranberry and honey. None, well, cinnamon. I always throw in cinnamon. None of those other fancy things. But I just love this stuff so much. I'm finally getting my husband to try it. I don't know why he wouldn't try it before, but we do like gluten-free pancakes on the weekends. We always do brunch with a pancake or a gluten-free French toast. This is the best on there. Just fermented in honey. I'm not going to open it because I haven't opened this one. I do pop them. So when they're hot, when they're doing the fermentation, I burp them every day, no matter what it is. A lot of times, like the garlic will really pop. Sometimes the cranberry ones, they don't off gas as much as the garlic does. What else? So in my Azure standard box, I got a couple of beets. I don't really like beets and I didn't know what I was ever going to do with them. So this morning I'm making this mess. Let's throw the beets in. I peeled them and I cubed them. I already had this orange out, so I did put orange slices in with this. This one I did a salt fermentation. So I think I put cinnamon in there and clove as well. See, now I already can't remember. So it's always a surprise, and I'm not a very good historian. I didn't do any fancy label. This has only been an hour ago, and I don't remember what I put in it. So that's what you get at my house. You never know. You never know what you're gonna get. But I've got the weight. I can show you that. I've got the little kit that you can get from Ball. I don't want to dig my fingers in there, but I've got the weight sitting there. So when we're fermenting, you want to put a weight on it. If your food comes up above the liquid line, that's when bad mold happens. That's when things happen that you don't want to happen. So we got stop assaulting the beets. Oh, you're funny. So we'll see how that goes. I'm hoping, I've told myself that I'm gonna eat this whether my taste buds like it or not. But they don't like beets. Like they just don't. I cleaned up pretty good. I had the beet dye on my hands. So I did that. I told you about that. I told you about this fun one. I should, while I got this mess going, on my way home, I should stop and get some lemons and do a lemon ginger one. But it's not that big a mess. I can always make the mess another day. I don't want you guys to think that it's so big a mess that you have to have all day, available in order to do this stuff. You don't. I'm going to take a drink of my coffee and look at comments for a minute. Yeah, and I've got some books you can get on wherever you like to buy books, and buy some books. Like I was saying, you probably next year, next fall, if you see me coming on here doing canning videos, that's gonna be crazy. Like that would be totally crazy. Canning scares the bejeebers out of me. But then some other people might be afraid of fermenting. Fermenting doesn't scare me. I don't know why. Fermenting does not scare me. But I really think we want to be more and more using food as medicine. So if you I have apples, I'm going to run out of time for this session. I'm going to need to get to town and need to get to a client. I have some apples. I should do some apple cider vinegar. But I'd like to do the apple cider, not vinegar, right? So if we do cider, then we are going to consume it in the bubbly phase, not the vinegar phase. So I love bubbles. I love bubbles. I will do some update videos, like probably not live or maybe not long, but who knows? I will keep you guys updated. I'm so excited. Some of you guys know Renee, but I've got Renee on board. She's going to help me with my content. So, like, it's too bad I've got that window right behind me, but uh, I don't know what to do about it. But hopefully, then Renee, she'll be able to pick through my videos and she'll be able to use some of this for content. I'm super excited about that because, like I always say, I'm not a full time content creator. I'm just Nurse Tanya out here experimenting with life and being brave, going live, letting you guys know what I'm doing. I'm trying to look at comments a little bit. So I really like my Facebook, YouTube camera better than my TikTok. I didn't put a filter on TikTok and I look way better over here on my filter on my TikTok or on my YouTube. My YouTube. Ah, there's Renee. Hey, girl, I was just talking about you. I think I quantum called you. Maybe you were here. So I have been on here rattling on for 45 minutes about being brave and trying some fermentation. You have pears and apples. I have pears too. So I got a mixed fruit box from Azure. I've got pears. I've got a couple more oranges. Pears would be good in, well, in a honey ferment or just ferment. When we do the salt ferment with anything, it gets kind of that weird tingly, like it's a different taste sensation. But I think that, like, if you buy those little fruit bowls at the store, even that they taste fuzzy and fizzy and fuzzy, and I think that's why, because they're not advertising it as fermented, but I think it is fermented. But even so, when I say that, oh, who knows, social media somewhere. I heard somebody talking about being cautious of, like, we're talking in our community, we're talking about fermenting and everybody get going doing some fermenting, right? And it's good. Our community, we get what we mean by it. But we're going to be seeing in our grocery stores ferment as a buzzword. And that is probably not going to be what we want it to be. They say that these fake meats and whatever process they go through, it is a fermentation process. So they're going to be marketing things as fermenting, trying to make us think that they're healthy, but they're really bioengineered fake. I don't even know what it is that they are fermenting to get it into a sellable mold or whatever. So just read read the labels, and just know that they're fermenting bioengineered crap and trying to pass it off as health food. So there's that. All right, let me go back. I think my honey, gosh, that's still warm. That's still pretty warm. I need to top some of these off. If you just came on, I am doing a honey ferment. This I got 2 cranberries are in season right now. So I love cranberries. They were on my food allergy test like 5 years ago when I first tested. They did come off. So we do IgG food allergy testing, which is leaky gut, which is what is leaking in your bloodstream, right? So you test when you know your baseline, you try to heal your gut, you retest 6 months or a year later, and these things come off because your gut lining is better, right? That's where food sensitivities, food allergies, it's all about leaky gut. It's all about stuff that was never supposed to get in your bloodstream in the first place. Susan, she says she's going to send me a video. Okay, Susan. So these, I did quite a few jars. They go a long way, and I didn't do them in big jars, but I've got orange peel. I've got grated, like a ginger, organic grated ginger that I already had, a little orange peel, a little ginger, cinnamon, and a couple of cloves. So that's what I've got going on. I need to go back. I ran out of honey. I had to warm some up and redo that. I kind of want to keep cutting, but then I feel like I'm ignoring you guys. So my goal, I'm going to keep cutting. So my goal is, we have got a Created to Heal meeting, the full moon. So I think that's the 15th or the 17th or something like that, at my shop in Sydney. And we're going to talk about fermented food. So I want to have a variety of things that whoever shows up can sample. So this morning, I am such a multitasker that I'm like, well, I'm going to be doing all this anyway. I might as well do a live video and help other people be brave that have never done any of this stuff. So, like, I'll just do it all at once, right? I would like to encourage you and also get some stuff done, but I'm kind of not being super productive at either, as you can tell right now, because I really like to read your comments, and then I really need to cut cabbage and whatnot. I wasn't very organized. I should have been fancy on TikTok and did a whole promotion video. This thing I got off of TikTok Shop, and I really do like it. Let me sorry, YouTubers, you don't get to move camera. So it's just this cranker deal. I got that stuck in there. It's suction cups down here, and then it comes with all these other blades. So I first tried this chip one, and I don't really like that. So then I ended up with this one that's making things kind of squarish, kind of, depends on the size of the carrot. But I think I'll like that. I think that will be a good texture. Because like in my sauerkraut, it's kind of about texture. I don't want the carrots to be a totally different texture than the cabbage. But I like to throw cabbage or carrots in if I have them. I thought about throwing onion in there, but yeah, I could put cayenne pepper. I could put garlic. Like, I know, squirrel. You can put anything. You put anything in there. It just doesn't matter. Let's do some cutting. All right. If you guys are in the comments, there's a few people watching. I love that you're putting up with my squirrel. I know, right? So this is what I've got left for cabbage. So that is all the bigger this batch is gonna get today. I had made cabbage in the crock pot. It turned out so good. So easy. Why don't I do that? That's what I should have done instead of doing videos with you guys. I should have put something in the crock pot for supper tonight. We eat so plain and so simple. I am not a fancy cook. I don't like recipes. And honestly, I don't like protocols. So, like, say in our ropeworm protocol book, everybody's, what's your protocol? What's your protocol? Or, I am not a protocol person, even in my healthcare business, because we're all individuals. Like, protocols don't work because you can't just go across the board and speak to every individual. So honestly, protocols drive me crazy. That's why I love my bioenergetic testing. I love muscle testing. I love functional tests as well. But because we're each individuals, and then as we're healing, or if we're not healing, if we're getting worse, we're different every day. So protocols, like extended protocols, I know it can get frustrating when we're changing supplements or changing food plans all the time, but that's what we have to do, because as we're healing, we're changing our microbiome. We are adding fermented foods, and when you're adding fermented foods, you're mixing it up. When you're removing toxins, when you're removing parasites, every day what we eat, what goes in our mouth, what we breathe, what we think, it all matters. Every day it matters. So every day we can make wise choices. Every day we can make poor choices, and we just always hope that the wise and the poor all come out, that we come out ahead and not in the red. At the end of the day, myself, oh, every day has got poor choices, and every day has got wise choices, and I just pray that at the end of the day I come out ahead and not behind, right? So perfect no. I always say I'm not where I need to be, but thank God I'm not where I used to be, right? So let me look at comments. So as I was cutting, yes, I do. Broccoli, onions, garlic. Yeah, I used to follow years ago. I was gonna do this fermenting thing, and I didn't follow through with it. And there was a gal on YouTube that I used to follow. I can't think of her name. I should find her again. But she had been, doing it for years and years, and had so much wisdom and knowledge, so many recipes. There are so many creators out there doing this stuff that know what they're doing. I'm just out there muddling through it and inspiring you to be brave. If I can muddle through it, you can muddle through it, right? And like some of these pieces, I have learned in the sauerkraut, smaller pieces are more appealing texture wise. So just taking the time to grade things down a little bit finer. I guess I could try throwing cabbage in this unit and see what happens. Should we try it? I never thought about that because the cabbage is so crumbly. Let me see if I can get. Let's see what happens, right? Just try it. Okay, let me see if I can turn that a little bit. Let's try it. I'm not gonna switch that deal out. Let's see what happens. I just have a feeling the cabbage is going to get really juiced. Oh, I might like it. So that got really fine. Can you see it? That might be really lovely. But now I think I'm just gonna have to separate that kind of out in my dish and put that in a different jar. I'm not gonna want those two different textures. So I do think that's a good idea, but I think we're gonna have to save it for later because I know I'm not gonna want those two different textures of cabbage in the same batch. Not for me anyway. Maybe some people would be fine with that, but for me, texture-wise, I just think that would be too weird. So I would say that is a good idea, and I will probably table that for next time. Fish that stuff out of there. I do like it. I definitely do. But I don't want it mixed with my other stuff. So we're back. I'm just gonna, I can do that later when I'm not on tape. So really, I need to wrap this up and clean up my mess and finish my mess and clean up my mess. And I'm not getting those things done very efficiently. Yeah, Renee, get one of those little gadgets. Too bad I didn't have a link. I could have made $2 off of this video. Yeah, too bad for me. I'm always, a day late and a dollar short. Or ideas. I'm always either way ahead of what is going on or way behind. So, you guys, I'm gonna pop off. This was my fermenting. I don't even think we can call it 101. It's like pre-intro to 101. If you just popped on, we will we will be doing Created to Heal full moon in Sydney. So, and we're going to be talking about fermented food. So far, wrap it up. The salsa fermented is my favorite. I got that idea from Chef whatever he is that Jaciel had on live. This was a 5-day. I did it in my big crock, just salt, no starter. For review, the times that I've used starter, it's messed up my ferments because I didn't know that it was going to go just a few days and I let it sit too long and it got too soggy and yucky. So that is 101. If you're using a starter, it's going to go way faster on you. My fermenting experience, I've used, I guess the fire cider, that's using apple cider vinegar, but I've used honey and I've used salt. And I am going for a bubbly. I'm making my own pop. I'm going to add honey to this every day, let it grow and let it go. Once it's good and bubbly, I'm going to pour off the chunks. I suppose I could use those chunks for something else, but we'll see what happens then. So I will post some little updates. Michelle says, how long did I do the salsa? This batch was great at 5 days. So I let it sit in my crock, just undisturbed. I like salt, so mine's pretty salty. I use more salt than I would have needed, I do believe. Yeah, wine is totally fermented. Totally fermented drink. How much salt? I don't know, Michelle. I don't remember. I just dumped. And I did a big crock. It was totally full. This crock is, it just has a 1 on it. So I don't know if that's a gallon. I suppose it is. But I did this totally full, actually twice, of chopped tomatoes. I was chopping tomatoes forever. I don't know how much salt. It was more like tablespoons for that big thing. And then I use Celtic salt or Redmond salt, kind of depending on, I think in that I used Redmond salt because I have a lot more of it. This Celtic salt, I kind of hoard a little bit and use it more for my pinches than I do for cooking. So, all right, thanks for the couple of questions. Everybody be brave. Get in your refrigerator, chop something up, add some salt to it, throw it in a jar, and call it ferment. Let it sit for 5 days. For sure, if you've never done the candied garlic, so easy. And this stuff it's good. Either save it for when you're sick or use it to keep you from getting sick. All right. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Like, share, follow, all the things. Always appreciated. Bye-bye.